don't get me wrong, if you're a terrible coach, then you'll get found out. It's more I'm trying to build an audience that I feel like I can connect with and they trust me. Like you say, if you count the hours and say I'll give you 50 quid a month, you'd be like, not a chance.
Just wanted to show off our new hats this evening.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Below Par podcast with myself, Joe, and Joe.
Hello everybody.
And today we have got Chris Ryan on. So Chris, thank you very much for coming on.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Glad I could chat to you guys.
No, very, very nice of you. As I say, for those of you that obviously haven't seen Chris Ryan, huge on YouTube and Instagram. We're going to chat to him a little bit today. We're going to do some quick fire questions, and then we're going to chat maybe a little bit about a hot topic if we get onto that as well. So I think that'd be quite cool. We're just going to start nice and open to begin with, Chris. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself. Tell us more about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Day-to-day basis right now is very different to what it normally is. My normal week has changed probably a fair bit over the last couple of years. A normal week for me now looks like kind of 2 days coaching, so kind of one-to-one lessons. And then the rest of the time is kind of spent filming content, creating content, editing content, and that then gets distributed across YouTube and kind of Facebook, Instagram, and that kind of stuff. So a couple of years ago, it was heavily weighted more towards the coaching side of things. But as things have changed and progressed, that's coding a little bit less, and there's more kind of the content creation side.
I was going to say, we were chatting earlier, kind of off topic a little bit and off recording, but when we were sort of saying, we first met probably, let's say 4 years ago now, and I think it was 25,000 subscribers, and now it's above 190,000. That, we were sort of saying that's a massive growth and a huge change, obviously. You're probably finding a huge difference between now and then. Yeah,
I think we said it was probably about 2016, wasn't it, where we spoke at the Belfry? And I guess then if you looked at the golf channels, there wasn't as many. Probably helped my growth a little bit. But yeah, since then it's been a steady growth, really. There's not been really any huge kind of jumps. It's just been a steady progression up to kind of where we are today.
So what kind of made you start YouTube?
This is a question I get asked a lot, and it wasn't sort of one thing. It was just a combination of things. So I was at the Belfry. I was a full-time golf coach. That was my only income. My diary at that point wasn't full. YouTube was kind of about, but it wasn't really being used that well. Back then there was probably 2 to 3 who were still doing pretty well now. And I wanted to get into a little bit of video editing. So I kind of used YouTube to do that. And then I'm kind of thinking, well, if I'm on YouTube learning how to do something I want to learn, surely that's kind of where a lot of golfers are going to be going. So I thought, and back then it wasn't really a case of, kind of change my sort of business. It was more a case of, well, if I can get some videos out there, I could potentially put some people into my diary. So the first one was to fill my diary. Second of all, I felt like I was giving the same type of lessons and that people were coming with the wrong information and doing the wrong thing. And I was just thinking, you know what, I can help these people. I can get the right kind of messages out there, really. So I was kind of thinking, well, if I can just reach some more people and help them play better golf. And really that was the two main things, really. It was that I felt like I could fill my diary. It was free advertising, and I felt like I could reach more golfers and help them play better through YouTube.
Yeah, I seem to remember we had a bit of a chat, and I'm sure you won't mind me adding this in there, but I seem to remember you saying that even at 25,000 subscribers, the YouTube money from views didn't outweigh actually what was sort of being sent your way because of the fact you were making content.
Correct. Yeah, with YouTube, you start off and I did, and I guess a lot of people did. You start off with your phone and kind of a pretty dodgy microphone, and you just kind of go with it. So there's no expense really, other than just editing a few videos and doing that. But you don't get paid a huge amount. And basically everything that I got from YouTube, whatever that was, it was kind of 50, 60 quid a month. You're just investing that back into YouTube to buy a better camera, better microphone. So you're not actually generating any money. But you do start, well, I was at that point starting to see people coming for coaching. And so I was seeing more of a benefit financially through that. And what I also found was that because you're reaching a wider audience, I was getting more people contacting me saying, well, I live in Scotland, London, Ireland, whatever. Can I come for a couple of days coaching? So it was filling my diary a lot better. And I guess that was the point where I kind of thought, this is really good because, there's some fantastic coaches out there. And I was seeing people from Newcastle, and I'm thinking to myself, not trying to downplay me, but I'm thinking that person's driven past a lot of good golf coaches that would have taken him a lot less time to get to, but he's come down to see me. I'm thinking this is really going to kick off now, because if I can start to create more content, reach more people, they're going to want to come for lessons. But definitely it was the increase in footfall through the diary that really helped initially.
That's it. And you can imagine, can't you? Like, imagine if somebody pitched you a job, the amount of hours you're putting into YouTube at that week and said, I'm going to give you £50 a month. A lot of people would go, yeah, that's no.
It's crazy. And I know, and I say to people now, back then I wasn't full coaching, but I was still working. I was working 6 days a week coaching, and all the stuff on YouTube was on top of that. Now, when I look at my job now, I couldn't start another YouTube channel now because I just haven't got the time. So I was kind of lucky that when I did want to start it, I was in a position where I had a bit of time. In between lessons, I could edit. After the coaching, I could edit. So I was kind of lucky in that I kind of had a situation that allowed for that a little bit. Now with twin boys and working, I couldn't start another channel now. Not that I want to, but it does take a lot of time. Like you say, if you count the hours and say I'll give you 50 quid a month, you'd be like, not a chance.
No, and it's good. So what are your kind of plans then? Where do you kind of see your channel going in the future? As you say, it's steadily kind of doubled each year. Where do you kind of see it going?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think I've definitely seen a change in YouTube in terms of what I think people are watching and what I think the content is out there. And so it's made me think a little bit about what do I want to do. Mm-hmm. And my sort of goal on YouTube was to basically be known as a good golf coach who was authentic, who really wanted to help golfers. And when I started YouTube, I was growing because the content was putting out there. I now know that if I was to do 4 videos on my channel, which I know 100% would help golfers play better, they probably wouldn't do as well as if I put 4 videos on with stupid titles like hit the ball 50 yards further and I guarantee this magic move will hit it straighter. And I know they will do better in terms of the views, but that's not then matching up with my sort of ethos of being a trustworthy coach who's putting out great content. So I guess I've definitely moved away from how many subscribers going to get. And I'm more trying to say, well, I want to be able to look at my subscribers and say that I believe that they trust me as a coach. They know that I'm going to give them what's going to help them, as opposed to just crazy titles that are going to get views. I don't want to get chasing those views. So I want it to grow, but ultimately I just want to start to produce better content and better quality content rather than saying I want 500,000, I want 600,000, because I know that the route to get that is very different to the route to get the authentic followers that I want.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that must be, well, certainly looking from my perspective, that must be the key to your success. Because if somebody's going on YouTube and if people are after advice, if I was certainly scrolling through the top accounts, you go straight towards Chris Ryan. If you want a little bit more clickbaity, you go somewhere else. You go towards those titles that you just said about.
I've always wanted YouTube to be a means to an end. And if I'm honest, I'm not 100% sure what that end is. But I kind of thought one of the things I wanted to do with YouTube, once it started to grow a little bit, I'm thinking, right, well, this is an audience I can grow. And I don't want to grow, I want to grow an audience who I believe trust me as a coach. Because on the back of YouTube, I want to run golfing holidays. I was going to go to the Masters this year. It didn't happen because of coronavirus. So I was going to go to the Masters, run a coaching trip. I go to America, do some coaching trips. I'm working on having a website where there's video series that you can buy. So I'm looking at creating an audience who really believe that I can help them play better golf. And then off the back of that, then I can start another business. Whereas if I start doing, like fix your slice this magic move, and they watch the video and they go, well, that wasn't a magic move. You're not building that. Then if you go, well, I've got a golf holiday, they're going to go, not a chance, not you. You're trying to, so it's more I'm trying to build an audience that I feel like I can connect with and they trust me, because then off the back of that, I can start doing things that are kind of more the way I want them to be.
I was going to say, it's almost very much a target audience, isn't it? It's like you want 190,000 people watching your video that want the video because they know it's you and trust you, rather than just some randomer going, oh, Chris got another video up, I'll have a look.
Yeah, it's much more relatable, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, I don't kind of want to, how's the best way to bring this up? So let's say look at my audience and the number of subscribers, let's call it 200, it's not, but let's call it 200. Mm-hmm. And then if you were to look at potentially some other, and I'm not trying to, but there's other females on YouTube who've kind of come from Instagram, have got a lot more subscribers. Yeah. But I'd feel more comfortable selling a coaching video series to my subscribers than I would to that, because they're just not the same people, if that makes sense.
Oh, 1,000%.
It's the quality, as you say, it's the quality of the people you're looking for, that rather than the number.
That kind of brings us on to the next question. So obviously we know you're with Adidas and TaylorMade. What's the coolest opportunity that sort of doing YouTube's opens up to you? I know that I've obviously seen some of the videos of the big YouTubers kind of playing the Pro-Am days at Wentworth. which for me is definitely a goal. How about yourself? What would kind of be an experience that you've had that's sort of really blown you away?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few really. I mean, once you get to a certain point, one of the things that's really good about YouTube and the kind of, I guess, the social world is that you know that doors are going to open, but you've got no idea what those doors are. You know, you could get an email tomorrow that says, hey, come and play in the Dubai Pro Am. You could, you just don't know what they're going to be. TaylorMade, working with TaylorMade has been brilliant. They've been fantastic. I've worked with them for a long time now. And they put me with tour players. They send me to events. So that's really, really good. I worked with Golf Poser, an online apparel company. They did a trip last year for a winner. We went to Scotland. We flew over to a little island. We played golf. We had whiskey tasting. I mean, that was just phenomenal. That was great. I mean, that was 2 days of just, playing in a phenomenally good links golf course with a competition winner, giving them a bit of coaching. Yeah. And well, this year the Masters was going to be a really good one, but that never happened. But fingers crossed that will happen. Well, potentially next year, but if they happen to reschedule it this year, then who knows?
Brilliant. That's a fantastic byproduct of enjoying your job, essentially. We've actually had multiple phone calls saying about how much we're enjoying the fact that our editing's getting better and all that sort of stuff. Maybe in the future, if we can progress to that, and certainly, Chris, you've sold it to me. I want to work harder at it now, more than ever.
Yeah, I think what I've discovered, and it's basically what you were saying there, like before I did YouTube, if you'd have said to me, what's your other kind of hobby, passion, I'd have probably struggled to answer that. It's kind of what I like playing golf, but that was my job. Now, if you said, what's your other hobby and passion? I'd say photography, editing, filming. I absolutely love that side of things. I love it. But I didn't know that until I started this. But it's like you were saying, you start to get really into it. And then you start to like, buy cameras with lenses, and you got the lenses over here, and you got, but you start to really get into it. And so that's kind of, so for me, filming a video and editing a video, I love that. I enjoy it, and that's kind of, like you said, a byproduct of kind of going down the YouTube route. And you do start to uncover, because ultimately, I was a golf coach, the skills I need to be on YouTube are just nothing like what I need to be a golf coach. I needed to learn how to edit. I needed to learn how to take a photo, how to film, which direction the sun's from. Do you need a light reflector? What's your ISO? And all these kind of things. You have to kind of retrain. But then when you're retraining, you start to fall in love with something different, and that's really exciting. I love that. I love the process now of kind of creating a video, photos and that kind of stuff. So yeah, definitely there's some perks to the YouTube, definitely.
I was almost thinking, like, at some point they're going to end up having to put this in the PGA, aren't they? There's that many golf pros now starting to think about YouTube. They're going to be doing like editing and training, like
100%.
Next.
100%. I mean, it's nowhere there. It's not there yet, but it's going to get to the point where if you want to have a lesson with a golf coach, first thing you can do is go on YouTube and see if they're on there. And that's probably not there yet, but and I think certainly what I would be looking for, I'd be encouraging the PGA to do, would be definitely do some kind of media training, kind of like, how do you talk to a camera? How do you, that kind of stuff? Because a lot of people, that's just not easy. You've got a camera in the face, and it's difficult, really. So I think that definitely will at some point be in there. And then obviously alongside that would be kind of editing stuff, I'd imagine.
Have you got any YouTube regrets then? Is there any videos that you've made in the past or you've still got on your channel now that you just think, I wish I would draw on that? Because I have got one on my channel, because the amount of feedback and comments I get on it, and it's the most viewed video I've got, but I can't remove it for that reason.
Well, I might have, but can we just find out why that's a regret at the moment?
Okay, so mine is a cheap versus mid versus expensive putter. Now, I've done it on ideas of aesthetics, how the thing feels. But basically, during the video, with the £10 putter or whatever the Wilson putter I've got, I've holed almost every putt with it. And the Scotty that's really expensive, that I said feels really nice, I haven't holed anything. And all the comments are like, oh, you're such a brand snob. Like, all you do is say that this feels really good and it looks really good, but you should hold a £10 putter because you hold more putts. I'm like, I'm speaking while I'm putting. Like, I'm not doing a clear test here.
Please tell me that Wilson's in the bag now.
It's not.
Do you know what? I don't think I have, really. I don't think I've got anything. There's definitely 100%. I've got videos on there which I would hold my hands up and say the information's probably not accurate, but at the same time, I believed it was accurate when I filmed it. And I mean, because they're maybe a few years old now, I don't get loads of comments, but I'm kind of, again, going back to what we were saying about the audience authentic, I'm happy for people to question that, and I'm going to go, yeah, do you know what, I was wrong? But that's part of being a great golf coach, is you continue to learn. You hold your hands up when you get something wrong, and you say, do you know what, at the time, I 100% thought that was correct. I now know better. That's fine. Yeah, but there's nothing there that I've not taken a video down. I mean, the first couple of videos I did, I mean, you kind of, I remember look at the first one. It looks like it's been one of those weird edited ones where it looks like it's a photo and there's just the lips moving. Because I'm just like really wooden and just talking like that. I'm thinking, it's kind of, but so there's a few that are a bit cringeworthy, but nothing that's kind of been a real bad one that I felt I needed.
A link to that in the description so people can see it.
I can't remember.
Loads of comments on it now.
It's like yours. It's had a lot of views, so I'm leaving it there.
So let's kind of move on. We've had obviously, so we put some stuff on Instagram. We asked people to ask a few questions. We've got a question saying, "Why are teaching pro and not playing?"
Because I would be very, very poor if I was. I was basically my game was the closer I got to the green, the worse I was.
Right. Okay. That's fair.
I played for it. I played some Euro Pro tours and stuff like that. But I mean, I as best I could, I kept stats, and I was always all right. Like off the tee, and my long game was great, and like my putting stats were like, I think I had like 1 year on Euro Pro, I didn't have less than 32 putts in a round. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like checking my Excel formulas to see if I've done it right. So I'm like, yeah, 32 putts. So yeah, I was never great at the short game.
And the second question is, how can I stop my left shoulder dropping down on the downswing?
I would say from the top of the backswing, the left shoulder should start to go sort of downwards and towards the target. But that would sound like he's starting to dip this way.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, which would suggest that his sort of inclination to the ground's increasing. If it's any body movement, my first go-to is check setup, is to check how they're setting their body at address. Is everything kind of in order? And then I'll be looking at how they move in the backswing, trying to get the hips. When I look at the body, I always go ground up, because there's no point changing the upper body and then changing the lower body, because that changes the upper body. So I'd always go ground up and look at the hip turn, I'd be looking at what the upper body's doing, and also where the golf club is. Difficult one to answer, but I would say that it's something like that. There's often a reason why. It's not just the movement. So I'll be looking at checking body orientation first in the backswing, and then seeing where they are from there.
So that pretty much wraps up the part one of today's video with Chris. Chris, thanks very much for coming on. I really appreciate your time. We're going to go on now to another couple of subjects. Guys, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the like. That really helps us grow. Guys, thanks very much, and we'll see you all very soon.